Hello everyone, and welcome to my review of set number 75095, and it's the UCS Tie Fighter. So I finally decided to build it, and I can't wait to get this on display next to the Slave 1, which is over there on my shelf. So I think it looks awesome, and I can't wait to see what I can't wait to build it. So without further ado, let's open it, get some of the bags out, and see what it looks like. We have bag 1, bag 2, bag 3, bag 4, bag 5, bag 6, another bag 6, bag 7, bag 8, bag 9, another bag 9, bag 10, bag 11, bag 12, which seems to be the stand, another bag 12 of smaller stand pieces, and I can see a minifig head there, and not one, not two, but 3 spare bags of large plates and tiles and those sort of things. So that's great. That's all the bags. Let's take a look at the instruction manual. And finally, we have a very large instruction manual, a bit shorter than the Slave 1 one. I assume that's because the wings are probably identical. And then we have a large sticker sheet, mostly because we have the one from the plaque for the UCS sets. So that's great. Now I'm going to go and build the set, and I'll be back with the full review of it. So here we have the finished model of the TIE Fighter, and straight away just wanted to say sorry that you can't see the plaque or the minifigure yet, but I'll go over them later in the video, so don't worry about that. A bit of information about the set. It is set number 75095, ages 14 plus, and it comes with 1,685 pieces, and it retails for $200 or £170. So that might sound expensive for a set with only 1,600 pieces, but when you consider the fact that many of them are 8x16 massive tiles and that sort of thing, it really seems a lot more justified. So without further ado, let's get into the video, and first we'll start off with the single minifigure that comes with the set. So here is the TIE Fighter pilot, and he is very similar to the one from the new TIE Striker set, but there are a few key differences which I'll show off in a second. You can notice one with the belt, just to start off with. The main difference is, as with a lot of UCS sets, especially ones which come with very few minifigures, is that he has arm printing, and there's arm printing on this side, and different printing on the other side, which is very nice. His helmet is the same mould, so the one from the TIE Striker, and the helmet is identical, as are the legs, I believe. His chest printing doesn't have 3D breathing tubes like the First Order TIE, but it's detailed enough, especially for a 2015 minifigure. And overall, he's a really great one. His helmet printing is very nice, and he comes with a small blaster pistol. So that's kind of it for this TIE Fighter pilot. Obviously, minifigures aren't really the main focus of UCS sets. It would have been nice to maybe get another one, but I can't think what it could have been. Maybe an Imperial officer, that sort of thing. But it would have just sort of been filler. This is the most appropriate minifigure they could have, and they really did a great job of him. So without further ado, let's take a look at the stand quickly, because that's quite an essential part of the set. And then we'll take a look at the ship itself. So here we have the specially designed stand made for the UCS TIE Fighter. And you can see that it's a very nice design. You have a spot for the minifig, which is right there, and considering he can't really go in the TIE Fighter as it's above minifigure scale, I think that's a very nice inclusion. The TIE Fighter rests on top on that little brick-built circular section there, which is nice, and I'll show you that now. This is very nice and allows for rotation of the TIE Fighter, like this. It's slightly angled, which means when you rotate the TIE Fighter around, certain parts of it will be more elevated than the others. Here is a closer view of the plaque so that you can read it and you can see some of the information there. The only slight problem that I have with the stand is the fact that it uses the blue pin pieces here, and it's a shame they couldn't just have remade those in black, which is slightly frustrating as it takes away from the overall design aesthetic. But every other part about this stand is very nice, and it has some very nice use of the smooth tiled pieces here, which I very much like. Taking a look at the ship itself, you can see the design is pretty much perfect as a TIE Fighter. The cockpit section is very nicely rounded, and the wings hold on in just the right position and are perfectly scaled to the model. Taking a look at one of the best parts of the entire build, we have the main cockpit assembly. It has some very nice printed pieces which go along with those stickers to create a very nice effect and a lot of detail. The top of the set is the only play feature and can be lifted up a bit like this. Overall, this is one of my favourite sections of the entire TIE Fighter because it just completes the whole ship, obviously, and it has a very nice seat on the inside, which I'll mention in a second, and it's built in all directions too. You build outwards, upwards, and it just is a lot of fun to do, to be honest, and it's probably the best part in terms of actual building process of the entire set. Although this exposes some strange colours and isn't really what you're meant to do with it, this gives a nice view of the inside. You can see there's a control sort of lever, and then there's a nice seat which you probably can't see too well, but it's crafted using some plates and you can lean it back, move the headrest, so it's slightly bigger than minifigure scale. But I like that, it allows for more detail inside the cockpit. The way you connect the wings onto the main body section of the TIE Fighter is very interesting. You first clamp it down with a tile on some hooks, and it's entirely brick built rather than using Technic pins or that sort of thing. You then insert some pieces which just fill the gaps very nicely and allow for a completed design which looks pretty perfect. Here is a slightly different angle which might give a better view of it. Those dark grey pieces there are the pieces I was talking about, which you just slot in. When it comes to the wings, I think they've been done pretty much perfectly. You can see the outside of the connection point looks very nice, and it has a bunch of greebling on it just to make it look a bit more detailed. You then have spokes coming off, which use the droid arm piece just to connect the spokes to the ones on the underside of the wing, which is a very good use of the piece. This is my personal favourite perspective of the ship. It exposes every real design aspect, and you can see the outside of the wing, the inside, and the lovely looking cockpit design. The wings are definitely the most attractive parts of the set and the most time consuming. They also have the most pieces, I believe, but they also have some very large 8x16 plates as well as some 8x16 tile pieces, which you usually only see for the placard, which has information on it on all the UCS sets, as I showed earlier. The back of the ship also serves its purpose, showing the twin ion engines and also just a load of detail with those nice sort of bench pieces, if you want, in microscale, and it has some sort of, it almost looks like a window on the back, but I like the way it's integrated and I love the design in general, especially with all of the use of the stickers and some of the printed pieces, which I'm not usually too much of a fan of. Also, note that the structural integrity of the ship allows you to swoosh it about like this, and it's very durable, unlike the Slave one, which has lots of loose pieces on it. So that's worth noting. Now let's have some final thoughts for the set. So overall, this UCS set is a pretty much perfect TIE Fighter, and we couldn't have asked for much more. The only real problem that you can have with the set is the slight problem with the stands and the coloration, but it's such a small issue that it really doesn't matter, and you don't really notice it from that far away. I wouldn't say I like it quite as much as the Slave one. The build is a bit more interesting on that, and the minifigures are also more interesting, including the Boba Fett one, but there are no big problems with this one. The minifigure is really awesome as well, not quite as iconic as Boba Fett, but nearly. The placard is fine, but there's not much to say about that, and the way the wings are built is really nice. The build does not get repetitive despite the extreme symmetry which it has, and the way that you connect the wings to the main body makes it a very interesting one as well. So overall, I'd give this a 10 out of 10, just like the Slave one. I would say this is the standard they've now set for their future UCS sets. Shame they couldn't really keep up the standard with the Assault and Hoth, but that's a story for another video. So, for now, thank you for watching, and goodbye.